Now, coming back to what we were discussing,
India
India-Bangladesh
okay.
relations, how do you see, it's a question you possibly many people have asked you, what is leading to, is it only social media, propaganda, misinformation that has led to this kind of strain? Or is it also the previous government and how we are seeing India and Hasina almost becoming one before Bangladesh people? So the anti-Hasina sentiment is spilling over into an anti-India sentiment. And is the next government be able to differentiate between the two? And how long will it take to, uh, create two identities out of this one, at least in the minds of people here in Bangladesh?
You're putting me on the spot now. No, as a matter of fact, India-Bangladesh relationship has gone through many phases, the issues that strained the relationship, that's created the trust deficit between two sides, has been like to start with the water issues, the water sharing issues, which Bangladesh is eligible to get its due share as per the international norms of the water sharing. Then there was border killings, and nowhere in the world you'll see your neighbors crossing the border or in the border, whatever it is, they're getting shot and dead, being killed. So this has been a norm for many, many years, and that's hurting Bangladeshis a lot. Then the worst part, there are other issues of tariff and non-tariff barriers and all that. And the worst thing that happened, that really triggered the relationship to go sour, as it is being done today, is Bangladesh has been ruled by a dictator, a fascist, and which had disenfranchised the citizens of Bangladesh from their voting rights, from their human rights, even on the economic front. A bunch of people controlling both politics and economy, the oligarchs, that contributed, that worked along hand in hand with the previous dictator and fascist, being supported by the Indian side. And I know there are denials on this, but I think you really cannot deny certain things. We have seen, I can give many examples of that. And that hurt Bangladeshis most. When they are being disenfranchised of their voting rights, their civic rights, their universal declaration of human rights issues. And that got Bangladeshis really, what it has come to today, the anti-Indian feeling, very strong. And that did not help India-Bangladesh relationship, you see. And there has been, of late, from Indian side, India, there is an ecosystem, as I mentioned before, this ecosystem being developed about the minority oppression and the security issues and fundamentalism. And a lot of establishments are plugged into this ecosystem and reflecting their views accordingly. And this ecosystem is much involved with much of misinformation and disinformation against Bangladesh. So that did not, even of late, it is not helping going forward, you see. This is where we are today, actually. And bad relations is getting from bad to worse. So this is where we stand in our relationship. So if you ask me where to have you have to have a recalibrate. You have to recalibrate the whole relationship, reset the relationship. And if you ask me where to start it, and I would say that from Indian side, I think they have to understand the reality on the ground. Why it's not the government or party now, it's the whole Bangladeshi people how strongly they feel about their relationship with India. So nobody is really working on it, nobody is trying to understand it. They are all making political statement and maybe some are playing to their own home, they're playing to what do you call it?
Constituency.
Their constituency. So if you play for your constituency certain things which goes against the Indo-Bangladesh relationship, is it really helping the matter? There, I think India-Bangladesh relationship to go forward. I think Indian side should try and understand reality on the ground. So it's no good blaming any party or any group, it is the Bangladeshi people as a whole. It is their feeling. So why Bangladeshis feel so strongly about it? I hope and pray and wish that Indian side will start to understand it. And for that to happen, I think Indian side should recalibrate, reposition themselves going forward in Bangladeshi relationship. And few things that has to be understood clearly, that any relationship needs to have mutual respect, mutual interest and benefit, and one of non-interference. So if people are inhibited with the thoughts that Bangladesh is being looked up void of any of this, So that is not going to help. So Indian press, Indian media, Indian politicians, Indian think tanks, even Indian security system, I would say, should take note of that and if we can address these three things, we can bring to the table anything we can discuss, because Bangladeshis also want to live with the friendly neighbors, isn't it, from both sides, because we benefit from each other. We are same people historically and culturally. We share so many things, like we share the rivers. And so these things has to be done honorably and equitably. And go by the international rules, laws, and regulations, and equitable approach to our relationship, and sharing things also, including the water issues.
And coming back to the economic situation in Bangladesh, given the strained ties with India, there is also a feeling that Bangladesh, of course, is looking towards other neighbors for more trade, more exchange, and more opportunities. Is that true, and is that required at this stage again? And how do you think India should accept Bangladesh's choice to work with partners like China, Pakistan, which didn't happen in the past? We've seen many delegation visits even now happening. How do you see that playing out for India and for Bangladesh?
Yes, the economic relationships for any country, forget about India, Bangladesh, it's like water will find its own level. If you obstruct the water here, it will find its own level somewhere else. So economics and trade is exactly the same. Where there is an obstruction of any kind, it will find its way elsewhere. So we have to understand this and So realize that um, we have to allow the free flow of economy. And as I said, any interest has to be mutual. Any benefit has to be mutual in any relationship. So I think if that Indian side should be well understood by the Indian side also.
Do you think it's purely economic cooperation, or is it also has strategic ramifications?
Well, I mean, strategically, as I said, Bangladesh is where we stand today. We are more multilateral country. If you look at Bangladesh economy, but in the previous regime they wanted to be certain country centric, but no economy can be specific country centric. Bangladesh is looking out for multilateralism, and Bangladesh economy actually being developed on multilateralism. So this is our future, and economy has its own way of going forward. And strategy, security, these are different issues. And as far as we are concerned, we believe in market and level playing field, and democratization of economy is our future. So anything that is good for Bangladesh in the way of economics, good for Bangladeshi people and Bangladesh's development would be welcome.
This last question now, with if we're talking of elections happening, how do you see BNP taking lead and fulfilling aspirations of people in Bangladesh, carrying forward the process of reform?
BNP is well prepared with a 31-point reform program to start it. That's going to put in place, and we have prepared this with our allies, 42 parties, and this is going to be post-election. This is the top priority for us, and this will be done in the shortest possible time. And having done that, BNP will pursue its economic policies that we have put in place, and that is going to be, the economy is going to be seriously deregulated and liberalized. As I said, we are going for, our policies of multilateralism. So we are going to go for serious deregulation and liberalize the economy. Because our economic development should be based on the investment, basically. So we want to be an investment-friendly country. And that will create, not only drive the economy, that will create job, and all-round service, manufacturing, agriculture, I mean, you name it, we'll liberalize across the board. And through that, I think an economy which is going to be sustainable, resilient to any global shock, because you can see the tariff war that is creating new instability in the trading system, global system. We have come out of WTO rule-based sort of trading system. So every day is a new day in a way. So we have to be able to absorb the shock. So accordingly, economy will have to be liberalized, deregulated for more investment, investment-friendly environment at home and from foreign investors.
Since you mentioned the tariffs, how deeply impacted is Bangladesh?
It is
the
indeed.
changed administration. Going forward, how are your relations going to be with the US? With these sticking points.
I mean, we have to work with the current scenario. I mean, there are a lot of comments coming up from all sides. I mean, without going into that. So it is what it is. You have to be ready for it, and you have to be prepared for it. So we are working on how to sort of mitigate crises like this, and we are working on it. There are way out. I mean, there are many ways. We have lived in the protectionist world in the past also. Maybe it looks like we have to live for a while. So how to mitigate it, how to be prepared for it is the big question. That's what we are trying to do right now.
And what's your opinion on the young party since,
Sorry?
on the student leaders, on the new party? You belong to a generation, like you mentioned, you've seen so much of transition, challenges. For them, it's 2024 is almost like a, landmark more than possibly even 71. Many of them were not born or very young. Do you think that maturity is there in the new um, blood to be able to understand that this itself is just one part of history, and tomorrow again it will be just like a blip in Bangladesh's entire history, not the landmark itself?
I'll only say this much: every party is entitled to create their own political ideology and beliefs and the foundational values. So I'm not going to judge anybody like that because I respect everybody's views. This is the culture we must bring back in Bangladesh. Having disagreed, we have to respect the views and we have tolerance. So I don't want to judge any parties really. Everybody has the right to do promote their own ideas and views. It is at the end of the day, people of Bangladesh, the citizens will have to decide,